Imagine silver suddenly shooting to $100 faster than anyone expected, triggered by moves so powerful they could shake the markets to their core. Right now, banks and major players in China are quietly setting the stage for a silver explosion, and if you're not paying attention, you could miss it. Today on Metal Mindset, we're breaking down the exact reasons why a $100 silver target could happen sooner than you think, what's driving this chaos behind the scenes, and why your timing in the market could not be more critical. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss updates on big silver moves. Because trust me, these are alerts you don't want to sleep on. The first thing you need to understand is that silver is no longer just a precious metal at a battlefield. Right now, the market is balancing on a knife's edge. Banks are using every tool in their arsenal to try to suppress prices, and at the same time, we're seeing unprecedented moves in China that are quietly tipping the scales. When these forces collide, silver doesn't move, gradually it explodes, and history tells us that the last time similar conditions aligned, prices surged dramatically in record time. So, what's really happening with the banks? Well, for decades, major financial institutions have been involved in silver manipulation. They create pressure points to keep prices lower than they should be, mainly to protect their massive derivatives positions. But here's the catch. The more they try to suppress silver, the more strained the system becomes. Open interest in silver futures is reaching levels we haven't seen in years. Every attempt to cap the price is like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a garden hose. The system is stretched so thin that even a small spark like a sudden surge in Chinese demand could ignite a massive rally. Speaking of China, this is where things get really interesting. The world's second largest economy has been quietly accumulating silver at a scale that ICE widely reported. We're talking about massive purchases by state-owned enterprises and strategic reserves being built up in preparation for future industrial and financial demand. China's industrial usage is skyrocketing, especially in electronics, solar panels, and medical technologies, all of which require silver. Meanwhile, their monetary strategy increasingly favors physical assets, and silver is front and center. When a country of this size starts aggressively buying silver, the ripple effects are enormous. Prices in Western markets can't remain artificially low for long. Now, let's talk about timing. Why could $100 silver happen sooner rather than later? First, the current setup in the futures market is explosive. The ratio of open contracts to physical inventory is extremely tight. Analysts call this backwardation pressure, and what it means is simple. Physical silver is increasingly scarce relative to paper claims on silver. When scarcity hits a critical point, prices accelerate almost vertically. Second, geopolitical tension and banking instability are adding fuel to the fire. Banks that previously suppressed metals are now dealing with liquidity stress, higher debt, and looming regulatory scrutiny. Combine this with China's aggressive accumulation, and you get a perfect storm. Another element often overlooked is investor psychology. Fear and greed drive markets more than logic. Right now, a growing number of retail investors are noticing the manipulation, and platforms like Reddit, Telegram, and Discord are buzzing with silver-focused communities. Once word spreads that physical silver is constrained and major buyers are accumulating heavily, the frenzy can push prices faster than traditional market models predict. Metal Mindset has tracked similar patterns before, and historically, these awareness waves precede the steepest rallies. But let's keep this real. $100 silver isn't just a random number. It's a target derived from multiple factors: historical volatility, current supply-demand imbalances, and strategic moves by major global players. We're not just talking about speculative hype. Technical charts indicate that if silver breaks current resistance zones, the next major psychological barrier naturally lands around $100. And when fundamentals and psychology align, markets rarely disappoint. Now, you might be thinking, should I rush in right now? And that's where strategy matters. The Metal Mindset approach is simple. Understand the context before making moves. Buying blindly can be dangerous, but positioning for a potential surge, especially with staggered entries and risk management, can turn market volatility into opportunity. Keep an eye on both paper and physical silver markets, because shifts in one often trigger reactions in the other. For example, sudden spikes in demand for physical coins or bars often precede futures market adjustments. Meanwhile, banks are increasingly under scrutiny. Regulators in multiple countries are examining practices that may have suppressed silver prices for years. If any enforcement action occurs, it could act as a catalyst, releasing the pressure that has been holding prices down artificially. Imagine a spring being compressed for decades finally snapping. That's the scenario we're watching unfold, and Metal Mindset believes it could happen sooner than anyone expects. Let's also consider global macroeconomic conditions. Inflation is still a major concern, interest rates remain unpredictable, and currency debasement fears are fueling safe haven demand. Silver, unlike paper currencies, retains intrinsic value in industrial demand. Its dual role as both an investment and an industrial metal makes it uniquely positioned to benefit from economic turbulence. And with China and other nations quietly stockpiling, the odds of a rapid price spike increase exponentially. Another overlooked factor is ETFs and institutional flows. When large funds begin accumulating silver, it often coincides with volatility spikes. The difference now is the confluence of events: retail investors, institutions, banks under stress, geopolitical uncertainty, and Chinese demand. These overlapping forces are rare and historically precede dramatic upward moves. Metal Mindset has analyzed past silver rallies, and the patterns emerging today are eerily similar to previous explosive surges. To bring this all together, the scenario is clear: the bank's attempts to control silver are reaching their limits. China's demand is quietly massive, and the market's psychological and technical signals are aligning. Scarcity in physical silver, combined with massive paper demand, creates conditions where even a minor trigger could lead to a rapid parabolic price spike. For anyone watching, it's not about if this happens, it's about when. And based on current data, Metal Mindset believes the when could be very soon. As we wrap up, remember, this isn't just theory. The evidence is visible in multiple markets. Rising premiums on physical silver, increased retail chatter, institutional interest, and growing regulatory focus on past manipulations. The combination of these factors makes the $100 silver target more than plausibly. It makes it a scenario investors must consider seriously. Whether you're a seasoned trader or a new investor, understanding these dynamics is crucial. And always remember, timing and strategy matter more than panic buying. If you found this breakdown useful, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can stay ahead of these market moves. Share this video with friends or communities who are watching silver, because knowledge spreads faster than the market itself. And drop a comment below letting us know your thoughts. Do you think silver could hit $100 sooner than expected, or do you see potential setbacks? We'd love to hear your perspective. Your engagement helps everyone in the Metal Mindset community stay informed and prepared. Stay tuned, stay informed, and remember, silver isn't just a metal, it's a signal. Watch the markets, watch the trends, and watch closely how banks in China shape the next big move. The time to understand these forces is now, because once the next wave hits, it's going to move faster than most expect.